Hello friends, I welcome you all on my YouTube channel Talks on Homeopathy. So in this video we are going to continue our discussion on Natrum Mute, and today we are going to discuss the different aspects given by different authors on Natrum Mute. The first, Dr. Sholton, explains this details regarding Natrum Mute. The first Natrum element, the entering a relationship on an impulse and changing partners. They are inclined to throw themselves into a relationship on an impulse without thinking beforehand whom they would like to have relationship with. They generally have very instinctive opinion about others, and they instinctively love someone or hate someone. They have no idea about the relationship that would suit them because they don't know anybody yet. They have no experience of what it involves and they can't analyze their own behavior. They have no insight into their own motives and they don't understand why things go wrong when they do. They are vulnerable in their relationship, extremely vulnerable to rejection. They are so sensitive that even the most innocent gestures or remarks can make them feel totally dejected and discouraged. They have no sense of proportion and don't realize that this sort of sensitivity may be suffocating to their partner. Last is easily influenced by relationship. They are able to adapt themselves completely to their partner's wishes. They'll do anything as long as the other person promises not to leave them. Again, we often see this happening in a relationship between a woman and a married man, where the woman will adapt the whole life to fit with his time schedule. Not persevering in a relationship because they are so vulnerable, they tend to give up easily. They don't easily persevere because they lack the strength to make a go of it, or they feel they have no right to have friends anyway. And at slightest hint or trouble, they'll say, "See, I knew it wasn't meant to be." So the relationship comes to an end before it has even started properly. Lastly, withdrawing from relationship and they will become alone, closed, or silent. So this is how the natrum behaves into a relationship. Impulsive nature, impulsively indulge into a relationship. They don't know how to handle, they don't know how to behave. So to manage the relationship, they are going to adopt the other person's like, dislike, or everything. And after the slightest negativity or slightest bad things, they are going to break up the relationship. And lastly, they are going to withdraw themselves and they are going to become silent, sad, or closed. The Muriaticum element, the first, they are going to have a self pity. So there are different aspects of self pity, and it is the most important is the relationship or being getting the love or somewhat of a relationship or attention or etc. So they always feel the self pity that they didn't got some attention, they didn't got some love or some relationship, and they always seek for that particular things, and then they demand a care or nurturing from other person. They ask lot of attention, or the opposite, they have lost all hope of getting it. So this is how the Natrum and Muriaticum involves with each other and generates some personality characteristic according to Dr. Sholton. Next, according to Dr. Sankaran, they are having the feeling that let down or betrayed or disappointed by a person, trust, or they have depended on by the one they loved. The betrayal that she feels is the betrayal of her trust or faith. She has a fear of being emotionally hurt or disappointed and hence is reserved, unapproachable. They are going to become unapproachable. At the same time, there is a tremendous insecurity with a fear of being alone and a fear of robbers. So this is a some another developed aspect of Netromute's mental disturbance. The initial part we see the how the Netrum mind involves into a relationship This is after they are going to have some bad experiences. They will feel disappointment, betrayal, or the loss of, or the broken trust or faith, and then everything is going to start in a negative manner. They believe that there is something wrong with her, either she is not good enough, not good looking enough, or that she has not done enough, and this is why the other person will disappear or leave her. This makes her do her best to be nurturing and caring, makes her go out of her way for others, but when hurt, she withdraws completely. There is a great sadness. Okay, so how that Natrum personality broods or thinks over that particular relationship. The first, they maintain the relationship. During that relationship, they are going to constantly have fear, anxiety, or brooding nature that the person is going to leave or the relationship is going to end, and they are going to lose the emotional support. That's why they are going to thought constantly that to maintain that relationship, that person has to maintain his or her own negative parts. So they try to adopt others liking, disliking, or behavior. But after that also, the things are not going to be settled down. Whenever the something bad is going to happen, or they are going to have some impulses, the relationship going to become a in a negative part, and again the person is going to brood on a same thing, that they didn't got the care, the nurture, the love, and then they are going to become a sadness. We have a rubrics like delusion. They are always looking in a mirror, or they are worried about their looks or appearance or behavior, and after the event or negative part of the relationship is going to arise, they will feel the silent grief or weeping alone with aversion to consolation. There is a bitterness, tremendous anger, irritability, hatred, and malice. So it dwells on past disagreeable occurrences and unable to forget them. So after the bad experience, the some natrums are going to become some bitter in nature with irritability or anger, and that's why they develop that consolation aggravates. Whenever you console the natrum, they will show the some anger or irritability in reaction of that consolation. They becomes averse to company and shut off from people. We have shown in Salton search data also that they are going to become closed, they are going to become silent, and here also they are going to aversion for a company or totally shut off from the people. This again alternates with a desire for company or relationship. Thus, we find contradictory symptom in Natrum people. So again, when they shut off from the person, it is not going to last for a longer period of time. They are going to come out from that trauma, and the only thing for come out from the trauma is another relationship for Natrum personality. So they are again going to have a desire and again for a care or nurturing, and they again start another cycle of that particular events. She cares so much for this one relationship that at times she finds it frightening and may even behave as if it means nothing to her. She doesn't want to be hurt. Okay, so it is, again at some part a person is going to feel that this relationship or this one particular that event is more important for her life, and that's why the different part of negative emotions like anxiety, fear, frightfulness is going to develop, that with the uh, back of the mind the feeling is that they are going to lose that relationship. They are very organized. They care a lot about structures like house, relationship, date, and timing. I have The author had found that this patient usually relate a history of big problems or quarrels with their parents. There is almost always a history of disappointment, love, tremendous grief after the death of someone near and dear ones. Okay, so the first thing is they are very organized in manner that it is always the center part is they just want the organized situations for the relationship. Okay, so whenever we have a patient and we look up some aspect of fastidiousness or some perfectionist, we must differentiate the fastidiousness, why the person is behaving in a fastidious manner, or here they are in an organized manner. Okay, so in that this organized manner or this good behavior is only to take attention of that particular person and that particular relationship, and not for in general. There is a certain reservedness about them which makes them want to express themselves through art. Now, this is another aspect that the Natrum is reserved personality, or they are going to become reserved after the emotional trauma, and the art is the only thing where they can relate themselves. So, few Natrum personality can going to indulge themselves into some artistic activities like music or drawing or painting, since it has the theme of investing everything in one person or one relationship. Netromu likes to dwell on grief or nourishes the grief. So it is always a one-on-one kind of a event. So they always uh, invest their everything into one relationship. Either it is a person or something else, but still they are stuck up to a one-to-one things, and then they are going to have everything. They are going to give their own to nurture that relationship. Now, this is all about Dr. Sankaran sir. Now we are going to shift on Dr. Philip Bailey's explanation. The first sir starts with suppression of emotional pain that we all know, but it is always a emotional pain. And most important part is they are very good at disguising this inner pain and vulnerability. So whenever you are going to have a patient in your OPD, they are not going to show off their internal pain, trauma. They are very well behaved, well mannered, and many a times we are going to have some confusion between patients like Kalikabs and Lycos and arsenic alb or Naxomica. Okay, so they are well balanced. You never see they are very good at hiding their emotional pain. You don't understand why this thing is happening. So we have also discussed in first video that the controlled emotional mechanism, and that's why they are not going to show off or express their emotional trauma. So Netrum individual is forever sitting on a time bomb of sadness. This is a very important line given by Sir, that they are every time they are sitting on a time bomb of sadness, anger, or fear. So at any time, the internal negative emotions are going to explode. They are going to break down, and they are going to develop a different kind of secondary emotional outburst. So now the evolution has been explained by Dr. Philip Bailey. It is in early childhood, the unconditional love that the patient or child has not received, and that's why they are going to develop a kind of a internal feeling that they want care, they want nurturing, they want love, and still they are not getting, and that's why they are not understanding the emotional pains and unconditional love and all, and that's why this whole personality develops in early childhood only. So Natrum children often refuse hugs and kisses partly because they do not feel the implied affection, and partly they are afraid of opening up the safely closed heart which does not hurt quite so much so long it is covered. Okay, so the controlled emotional mechanism, and also the part is that they don't want to get hurt or want to hurt anyone. So this kind of things they are going to have closed behavior. One is the type predicted by the traditional view of Natrum. The parents are relatively undemonstrative, and the child soon protects itself by becoming emotionally unresponsive or cold. Such children will grow into closed Natrums, and will actually be unaware of most of their feelings. The other type of interaction appears to be the very opposite. The parent show a great deal of love and affection. So there are two kind of atmosphere Sir is explaining. One is a parent who are never uh, showing the a kind of a love or a kind of a emotional attachment. The another type of parents are always flooding the emotional attachments. Both are not good for a child's or children's mind. So what happens when the parents are closed? The child is going to become closed on an emotional level. So not receiving unconditional love, they are not going to know how to express the things. After that, the child is going to have a guilty that why they are not receiving the unconditional love. There may be some part of problem or some bad things with them also. It is always a self generated kind of a blame that child is going to have. After that, they will have a grief, and they learns how to suppress emotions because of responsibility and care also. There is one type of child that there may be a rebellious child. The Natrum can develop that kind of behavior, that constant depending upon the degree of which the child feels hurt and degree of which he is afraid of expressing himself. They outburst into angers. The rebellious means they are not going to follow the advices or instructions. And anger is the first step to overcoming fear of most Natrums. And that's why they are going to behave in a rebellious way. The indulgent parent, the clingy child, the parent who are so much so attached or so much so showing the emotional attachment with the child, they're always going to become dependent emotionally on a parent. Okay, so another thing is they are going to become clingy because they don't know how to uh, survive without the support of the parents. So they always require a support or the company of a parents. They become clingy, and after that also there is a guilt that why they are receiving that much care or that much nurturing, while and only the feeling is maybe there is some problem in them also. They are not able to do this thing all alone, and that's why the parents are more worried or more showing that kind of a love or nurturing. Okay. Another aspect is the control mechanism. So the first thing is emotionally control. They never show that emotional aspect of their internal thought or personality. They avoid feelings. They're very conservative in their behavior. So always they find if they are going to behave in some manner, the another person is going to get something wrong. They will get hurt, then it will affect their relationship. So they always have a conservative approach. They don't behave in this manner. If they want to behave, they are going to think many a times, and they are well behaved and well managed. Okay? Just because of they don't want to remove or they don't want to destroy, hurt that particular relationship, and that's why this everything is going to be undertaken by that particular person. Next is giving and self denial. So this is another aspect to maintain the relationship, to maintain that particular bond. They develop, the most important part is giving and self denial. Giving is whatever the another person is going to demand, they are going to give happily. So there is a one simple statement is they never say no, whatever it is, the friends, the relatives, kind of a colleagues or whatever you can put as a attachment or relationship. They always are going to have a giving phenomenon. So sometimes the person is going to have some exploited mechanism also, but still they are never going to say no to any person. Mostly to no to the person with whom they are in a relationship. Okay, they are dependent on them. That a whole thing, and they are givoholics. They every time they gives their opportunity, chances, their own stuffs, etc. Okay, and again there is a self denial. So if they are going to get some opportunity, some benefits, they are going to give them to others, and just to become self destructive. Okay, so this phenomena in a longer period of time is going to become self destructive. Another thing is perfectionism and the workaholic, their tidy behavior, the perfect look. Firstly, it is a way of avoiding feeling. Secondly, means of feeling worthwhile in some way. The feeling behind workaholic is hates everything which stops their work. Okay. The first is their behavior is very tidy, good looking, perfect look. They we also seen in previously slides that they are very well mannered, well behaved. They arranges the household items in a good places. It is neat and clean. And again, another thing is they are workaholic. Now the workaholic is a helping mechanism or defense mechanism. The first is workaholic nature in Natrum comes when they try to maintain the relationship. In secondary aspect, the workaholic nature comes when the person tries to come out from that particular emotional trauma. Okay, and another aspect is they never likes the things which makes them uh, stopped, or which makes them some kind of a in situation that they don't undertake the work. So this is how the patients are going to behave. Positive thinking is one aspect of Natrum. So most of the time, their initial phase of Natrum is very positive thinking. They always sees the positive part. They always thinks on a positive results of any negative event. They makes a positive affirmations. Okay, they becomes, or they reads, or they follows that particular kind of things where the positive attitudes to be taught or to be explained. Okay, so never give hope, and fascinated with psychic world, mostly in child. So in children you will see they are very much close to those kind of fascinated world of positiveness. Okay, so they are indulged with some fairy tales. They are fond of those kind of positive story tales, which gives them a hope. And in adult, they are really been influenced by that positive kind of stuff, which makes them their mind a little bit soothing for some shorter period of time. The person at some level is a rebel, like we discussed the rebellious child. There is adult also. They are at some level that is angry, irritable. So this is mostly after some bad emotional trauma or bad experience from relationship. uh, they hard to trust. They're having hatred feeling towards some kind of mechanism. They have the hatred feeling towards own self, but sometimes you will feel that the hatred feeling is going to be expressed in that manner, that I did so many things for that person, but they didn't realize that, and ultimately the relationship entered into a ending phases. Okay, so this kind of things you will see. They're all dissatisfied, and signing is they may become a somewhat of a in a taunting behavior, or at some uh, bad humors. Okay, so they try to impress others by show of wisdom, knowledge. They are honest on part of relationship. Okay, so there is again some slight aspect of personality is sometimes they are going to have a show off kind of a behavior, their wisdom, knowledge, or etc. to just make their own existence into that world, or to just to get attention. During period of depression, all the old demons lurking in the patient's subconscious mind tend to resurface. So it is going to result into flooding of psychological defense mechanism, include guilt, fear, sense of worthlessness, and root of Natrum's insecurities. So this is like we always discussed regarding Natrum Muriaticum. You have always a multifaceted natrum. You don't know where the natrum is going to end after the trauma or some bad phase. So it may be a brooding, it may be a guilt, it may be fear, it may be a self reproach, it may be a feeling that worthlessness, it may be a feeling of hatred, it may be a workaholic. So it is always starts with a one point, ends on a different point. We have to go with a proper evaluation of a Natrum personality. So this is how the different authors has explained regarding Natrum Mure personality. Okay, so it's a multifaceted aspect. You have so many things in a one single personality. The only thing is that starts with a simple emotional trauma, which is going to be and into a repeated behavior of different aspects. So either it is a somewhat of a silent phase, either it is a irritable, either it is a another relationship, either it is a somewhat of a artistic behavior. So we don't know. Okay, but still they are going to have this whole cycle in their life. And whenever you feel or you find that this cycle is repeatedly going on in person's life, and that's why the person is suffering with a symptoms of natrum and physical complaints which are resemblance to natrum, you can think of prescribing the natrum in those patients. It is a good thing. Yeah, the most important thing is with the mind also, the personality also, the physical symptoms, the physical generals and particulars are also this similar important. So you have to consider the totality of symptom. Don't judge the personality on just a single behavioral pattern or just a single incident. And that's why we have to analyze a person horizontally, vertically, and with every incident or event, how they have gone through with that event or that incident. This is most important part. So this is all about Natrum Mute. If you have any queries, any doubts, you can write down in comment section, and we will definitely meet in another videos with considering or discussing different medicines. Thank you. Thank you for watching.